going on, Bulls Nation, and welcome in to the CHGO Bulls podcast, presented to you by PointsBet. Don't forget that promo code CHGO when you sign up to live your bet life. I'm Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. You can follow Big Dave here at Bow, BAWL Sports. And joining us in that adorable little circle, our guy, Will the Goat Gottlieb. He's on Twitter at Won't Gottlieb. We are CHGO_Bulls. Our producer, Joey, here hanging out with us today as well. So just wanted to quickly address what happened yesterday. As we were doing the show and wrapping up the show yesterday, news was breaking that another school shooting happened. This one down in Uvalde, Texas at Robb Elementary School. At this point, we've learned that 19 students, as well as 2 teachers, were killed. And that's not really something you can ignore. So first and foremost, I just want to check in with my guys here and ask you guys how you are doing. Big Dave, how are you doing?
Better now. I wasn't all day today. Honestly, to be completely honest, I didn't feel better until I talked to Will on the call that we were doing the meeting on. Because, yeah, man, it was – I've been trying to process it and accept it, you know what I mean, something like this, but – man, my heart aches for those families, man. Like, it just, I can't understand that aspect. And I look at this stuff and I'm like, this is why I don't have children. Because I don't know how I will react. I know how I am about my family. I know how I am. Like, I'm like a mother gorilla about my family, bro. So when I hear stuff like this, my heart just aches for these families that are going through something like this. I'm like, well, if I feel this way, this has nothing to, this is nothing on what they're probably going to have to feel for the rest of their lives, you know, and things like that. So it's just tough, man. I know you have to, because, it being in Texas and, you having family in Texas. I also have family in Texas that I checked in with, man, my niece and her 2 children. But just to keep it short, man, like, my heart aches for those family, man. I can't comprehend this. It's just tough. It's hard. And my heart just goes out to those families, man. That's all I can do is offer them the love that I have in my heart, and that's it, man. But it's hard to comprehend.
Yeah, and I think, what Steve Kerr said last night before the Warriors game really stuck with me about not getting numb to it. And I think that's kind of, Dave, what you're saying is like, all I can do is offer condolences. And it's like, that's all you can ever do. And it keeps happening. And I just, when you saw the pictures of all the kids and the teachers, you really have to just like force yourself to look at that stuff and really feel it, because otherwise we're just going to get numb to it, because this just won't stop for whatever reason. And yeah, my best friend is a teacher. He teaches 5th grade, and it's just crazy to think that like, he could be putting his life on the line to teach kids 5th grade. It's so awful and sad and heartbreaking. And I hate that we have to keep talking about it, but nothing is changing.
It's the babies. Like, that's what is really getting me, bro. These are the babies. And you're right about it. My whole family's background is education. You know what I'm saying? That's all I really know, like teachers and principals and, things like that. That's my whole family's background. So it's the babies, man. That's what always gets me, bro. Like, it's the babies. And even the young man, who did it, he was a baby. He was a baby, bro. He was 18 years old.
18-year-old.
He was a baby. So
he walked into a store and bought an assault rifle. Look, okay, CHGO and what we do here is a lot about being Chicago sports fans and taking pride in being Chicago sports fans, but it's also about taking pride in being Chicagoans in general. And, the show that we do once a week, the CHGO Sports Podcast with our guy Kevin Kadick, is sometimes about Chicago sports, and sometimes it's just about Chicago and the city that we all love and the city that we live in. And the part that is additionally frustrating after you just do your best to get past the tragedy of innocent lives lost is you always know that question is right around the corner from certain people. Well, what about Chicago? What about Chicago? Illinois has pretty strict gun laws, and Chicago has a horrible gun violence problem. Okay, a couple of things there. yes, there is no denying that we have a horrible gun violence problem in the city of Chicago, and it's awful. And a lot of the athletes in this city, my guy Joakim included, have spoken up and done what they can to try to curb that gun violence. A lot of the guns that are a problem here in Chicago and the gun violence in Chicago are not from here. They come from across the state borders of Wisconsin and Indiana, where there are much looser gun laws. So I am sick and tired of hearing that from people saying, well, what about Chicago? When yet another school shooting or the shooting at a grocery in Buffalo not even 2 weeks ago, or shootings in churches, wherever it is, well, what about Chicago? I'm sick and tired of hearing that question. I'm sick and tired of having to explain to people why that's bullshit. Because, yes, our city has violence problems, and we all need to try to fix them as best we can and to address them by voting, by being active in our communities. But I hate when people who aren't from this city use it as an excuse to hide from culpability of real shit that's going on elsewhere. Just now, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, I saw in my Twitter feed quoting, saying, well, what about Chicago? There are, quote, real gun laws in Chicago. I hate to say this. There are more people that are shot every weekend in Chicago than there are in schools in Texas. Take the word Chicago out of your mouth, Greg Abbott, because that's bullshit. And I'm freaking sick and tired of it.
Yeah, man.
And what I also want to say is that I appreciate that as this was all unfolding yesterday, right after we finished our show, our guy Brandon from All City, from DNVR, hit all of us up to say, look, I want you all to know that you can speak whatever is on your mind on social media, on your Twitter accounts, on your shows today and tomorrow. You have my full support. And there are plenty of people who are sports fans who say, stick to sports. I'm sorry, but sports are a part of culture, and this is what's happening in the world. I've never understood the stick to sports people, because we are all human beings, more so than we are sports fans. And there's no way that those things can't intersect. And I have never had a problem for as long as I have been even modestly a sports personality in the city of Chicago, saying goodbye to people that have an issue with that. I don't need you in my life, and I won't apologize for that ever.
And you shouldn't.
Well, it's also, sports are entertainment. It's in a lot of ways a distraction from the other things that are going on in the world. And we're lucky enough to be able to make this such a big part of our lives. But back to what I was saying before, like, if you're just only using this as a distraction and not actually, confronting and facing these things that are going on, you stay numb to it, and then things don't change. And so I completely agree with you, Matt, that it's important we talk about it and not, let people try to bully us into sticking to sports. That's never been who I am, who I want to be. And you're absolutely right. We're very lucky to work for a company and for a CEO who's supportive of that, and for us to be able to talk about these things.
And what's also was wild to me, again, while I was feeling like I was on top of that tragedy, 2 years ago, George Floyd was murdered by the police. Today, May 25th, same day. So just all that, I question your soul if you don't feel that, if you become numb to stuff like that. I will never become numb to something like that, to hearing 18 children were murdered at school 2 days before summer vacation. I was talking to friends of mine in the DM on Twitter, and one of them was telling me how his night was. He was like, I spent it with my daughter in her bed. He said, you know how hard it was for me to drive her to school today? You know what I'm saying? That's real, man. There's nothing phony about this. You don't become numb to stuff like that. Nah. You don't become numb to that. I don't care what your line of work is or what you do. You don't become numb to these things, and we never will be. And Matt said it best. I'm honored to be here on this kind of platform where it's encouraged and it's allowed to speak what you feel and to speak your mind. I've been on a platform that hasn't been allowed like that. Any platform I've been on with Matt, we've been allowed to have these kind of conversations, and I respect all those people for that. But yeah, I question you, man. Like you should feel something when you see this many children going for nothing.
And, like Will said too, mad respect to Steve Kerr, who always has been fearless of offering his thoughts and using his platform when things like this happen. He, along with a lot of the NBA players, were very vocal when George Floyd happened a couple of years ago. And you've seen NBA players and professional athletes of all kinds over the last 24 hours or so using their platforms. So whatever platform it is you have, whether you're an NBA athlete with millions of followers or us here with a humble little sports show, use your voice as best you can.
I want to just say, first of all, I appreciate you guys taking the time to talk about this and be real about it. And thank you to Brandon for allowing us and everyone at CHGO for taking this seriously and shining the light on it that it deserves. And, if you're listening to this and you are outraged at home, get out there and vote when you can. Use the powers that we have as people in this democracy to make the changes that we wish to see, because we know, if you go listen to what Steve Kerr said, the vast majority of Americans feel the same way on these issues, and it's important that we remember that we do have a power in all this. And so go out and make your voice heard, just like we're doing on this platform right here. And if this bothers you, then tune out. We don't care.
Word.
So before we transition and actually talk about some basketball today, just wanted to share and spread our love and support for, of course, obviously the families that were affected by this, but also anybody out there in Bulls Nation who is finding it harder to be a parent today, to be a sibling today, to be an aunt or uncle today, because, like Dave said, it's kids, and there's nothing more tragic than this thing that happened yesterday that happens far too often, and we're here for y'all. And just, Dave, so I was sitting at a desk over there, an hour or so ago, and Dave walks in and he said, so what's the good news today, Matt? And I don't know if he could tell that my vibe was not my usual happy vibe. The mood around the office has been down today because we're all trying to grapple with this, and that stinks. But, try and find the bright side and find the positives when you can, and just know that there are people out there who love you and care about you, and we are some of those people.
Word.
Okay,
Read.
Hey, here's some happy news.
What's up?
DeMar DeRozan, All-NBA second team.
I'll take that.
How's that for a rough transition,
I'll take
y'all?
that. Did the best he could.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Stick shift.
So these announcements came out as they were doing pregame for the conference finals game last night.
I need that.
Nice work on that graphic there from our guy, Joey.
Yeah, I need to put that up.
So, look, I think maybe halfway through the season, maybe when DeMar was having that incredible run he had in the month of February, people were thinking, we could be looking at a first-team All-NBA selection here for DeMar, which would have been the first of his career. His numbers, his efficiency dip a little bit in the final third of the season, and along with that, the Bulls team record dips significantly, and that, I think, is probably why you saw him slide from maybe flirting with a first-team nod to the second team, and he actually just barely scraped into the second team if you look at the votes. As the second forward on the second team, DeMar had a total vote of 184, LeBron James being the next forward up on the third team with 169. So he beat LeBron by 15 votes for the final forward spot of the second team. Do either of you guys take issue with where DeMar landed in these All-NBA votes, and then from there we can get into issues with snubs or guys who don't deserve to be there on other teams?
I didn't. I thought he was second team for a long time. We talked about him being a first team when he was being talked about in the top 5 MVP voting, which we knew would come with winning. It was like he wins, and that happens if the Bulls are number 1 or number 2 seed. Then we can have those discussion about first team All-NBA. That's fine. But once that started to happen, that decline and all that, but you still couldn't dismiss the numbers that man was putting up. You were like, yeah, second team seems fair. I would have been heated if he was third team. To be completely honest with you, I would have been heated if that dude ended up on the third team, man. There was no way he belonged there. No, he belonged on that second team. He had an absolutely incredible year, a year that nobody, including the people here in Chicago, were expecting from DeMar DeRozan. We talked yesterday with Stacey King about it. And I asked him, what was his biggest surprise? Who was his biggest surprise to see? He was like, dude, DeMar DeRozan. Mm-hmm. It was him. I was thinking Io, honestly.
Right, yeah.
And he was like, no, it's DeMar. He was like, I knew he was going to be good. I wasn't expecting 28 a game, DeMar DeRozan. I wasn't expecting to talk about him with Wilt and Mike, DeMar DeRozan. And nobody thought that. I don't think anybody thought he would be on that kind of level, no matter how big of a DeMar DeRozan fan you are. But it was exciting. I'd like to see it continue going into next year. You know what I mean? Let's do that again. But, yeah, congratulations to him, Will. He definitely deserved that selection.
Yeah, I don't think anybody thought – obviously, like, there was the whole consternation about the trading the first pick and giving him $28 million a year and all this stuff when they signed and traded for him last summer. Best case scenario, I think people thought he can be, like, good to very good. And not only was he beyond that, he was, like, beyond great. He was like outstanding. And so he blew the top off of any expectations that we had. I think he peaked probably 2/3 of the way through the season, right? Where he had that, run into the All-Star break. All of a sudden he's like, oh, this guy might be, he's going to be an All-Star starter. And then comes out of the break, has the 7 or 8 games, whatever it was, the 35 on 50%. And we're talking about All-NBA first team, like, being in the top 5 of the MVP voting. Of course, that tapered off a little bit, still had an incredible season. I was thinking just with how good the Celtics finished the year that Jason Tatum might lap him. LeBron, just being LeBron, might get the popularity votes. So I thought there was a chance he could be third team. I would have been very disappointed if he didn't make any of the teams. And I think also the position sort of requirements helped him a little bit, where if he was listed as a guard the way he was for the All-Star game, there's a chance he doesn't actually make any of these teams. But given the fact that he was a forward, I think second team, you can argue between him and LeBron for second team, but I think either way, that's a pretty incredible honor to be mentioned in that same conversation and to outperform LeBron.
Yeah, so it seems like all three of us are on board and feel like DeMar justly ended up on All-NBA second team. You brought up something interesting, Will, so we might as well talk about that now with the positions and the fact that DeMar was listed as a guard for All-Star voting, made his way to an All-Star starter nod, listed as a forward for All-NBA voting. So if I understand this correctly, and like I was listening to it on, I think, Zach Lowe's podcast when he was doing his votes for All-NBA with one of his guests, you can list a player as your vote cast for different positions if you want, but whichever position gets that player the most votes is the one that they are registered as. And a lot of people at this point are saying, well, why not just switch to positionless voting? Because the biggest gripe that most people have, and I know people have been poking fun at Sixers fans recently because of this, but how does the man that finishes second in MVP voting in Joel Embiid not make the first team All-NBA? If he's the second best player in the league this season, how is he not on the first team? Dave, yes, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I can answer that.
Okay.
Because the person who's the best is the MVP and plays the same position.
Yes.
That's the reason.
That's true. So do you take issue with that?
No.
You don't?
I have no problem with him being go to second team. I think it sucks. Like, he should make it. But dude, the person I put in front of you won the MVP. Like, that's all I'm saying in this scenario. He won the MVP. If it was someone in front of you who doesn't have a hardware next to him to show that he was literally better, like if he doesn't have that, then I feel you. But if somebody playing your same, listen, and let me go old school for you on this. Clyde Drexler, all right? When Clyde Drexler was always second team, you know what I'm saying? Why? Because Michael Jordan is number one, first team, and he's got all the hardware next to you telling him why this dude is going to be number one. He's got the MVP trophies next to him. You can't argue this stuff. Like for me, you can't. Like if he didn't have this trophy, then we could have these debates. Then I'm like, yup, well, he's better. No, he's better. No, he's better. He's better. Boom. I got this. I win. You know what I mean? That's it. That's a trump card for me.
And for a decade and a half, like you had even Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell,
right, exactly.
like going back and forth on these awards. Like I'm sure Matt and Will heard that same thing, and we all listen to the same podcast. The only thing that I think sucks about it is that these votes, it's unfortunate for Joel Embiid because these votes play into his contract scale. That's the only thing that I think,
point.
Is a little bit fishy about the whole thing.
Okay.
It probably shouldn't weigh in. Yeah.
That's what happened last year with Jason Tatum, who like basically split votes between guard and forward, and then didn't make any of the teams, and missed out on like $40 million on his contract because he wasn't an All-NBA player. So I totally agree with that, Joey. I think there are kind of like three schools of thought on it. One is like, this is the way it is, so we should preserve it. And Bill Russell and Wilt had to be first and second team, and that's just how it is. The other one being, well, I don't care how it is. Like, if it's not as good as it can be, like the NBA has always been the best league in the world because it's always updating and not just like sticking with the thoughts of the past because that's how things are. Right. That's super lame.
Sometimes and the third one to ruining their awesome trophies, but sometimes, and most of the time, it's progress from a progressive league.
And the last one being like complete indifference. I just don't care. And I think I get it. Like there was this whole, I remember like, I think Tim Bontemps and Brian Windhorst were arguing about it. Like, well, I'm not going to vote for Joel Embiid as a forward just so we can be on the first team because he's never played forward. And this is just how it happened. Like, who cares? Like, get the best players on the team that they're supposed to be on. Like, let's change the rules if they're not good. So that's kind of where I stand. And I think, given the NBA's track record on making changes, not being afraid to improve itself, we'll probably see that in the next year or two.
And you mentioning the contract effects that these selections can have and the power that the media has casting these votes. There were two players, Devin Booker, first team, and Karl Anthony Towns, third team, who were positively affected by that in qualifying for that extra bump in their max contract extension. So
the old Supermax.
Sometimes it works in their favor. Did either of you have any issues with any of these first, second, and third teams? A snub or somebody you saw on that list to say, I don't know about that. Some people saying, should Ja or Steph been on the first team over maybe Booker or Tatum? I mean, Booker confidently had 82 first-place votes compared to 13 for Ja and 9 for Steph, as Joey shows you the results of the voting there. Thank you, Joey. Some people I also saw have taken issue with Siakam making All-NBA third team, who had kind of an up-and-down year. Some people, maybe our pal Mark, maybe our pal Salim, saying, hey, where's Jimmy Buckets? Jimmy Buckets had a pretty darn good year on the number one seed in the East. Why didn't he at least make third team? What do you guys have an issue with, if anything, here?
I would say, Joey, where's Will? Can I get Will's face? Because I like looking at Will's face right there. Right there. Give me the glare.
There's Will's face.
There he is. There he is. That's
Sorry,
it right
Will.
there.
Sorry, Will.
Nobody wants to see this. You're fine.
International. I didn't have a huge issue. Of course, there are nitpick things. The Devin Booker thing for me was the nitpick. I'm like, yeah, okay. I don't think it's too tough. I'm like, I felt like it was when Dame was first team.
Yeah.
Like kind of just a body of work kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what, bro? Here you go. You know what I mean? Like you deserve it.
Also a star player on a 64-win team.
Exactly. And I was just about to say that too. You know what I'm saying? Literally the best record in the NBA. And you got to get something for that. You know what I mean? So I'm not mad at him for getting it. I did think when I was looking at the first team and second team, I'm looking at that second team like, damn, that's a pretty good squad right there, man. I might, if I saw first team and second team battle out in 7, I mean, I don't know. That's a pick 'em right there. That's a good series, actually, right there. But, yeah, the Karl Anthony Towns one was surprising to me. That one surprised me for sure. And not that I'm like, he doesn't deserve it, but I just wasn't thinking of him. to be on that level of being a third team.
Wolves showed people they were for real this year.
They did. And shout out to Anthony Edwards, doing his thing, and Pat Bell. I'm sure he had something to do with that. But yeah, he was something, man. Carl played well this year. He played okay in the playoffs, but he played very well this year. It just wasn't crossing my mind when I was thinking about Karl Anthony Towns. People were calling LeBron an outrage, which is crazy to me. Like, bro,
he put up.
You didn't make the playoffs.
He put up hella good numbers.
He did.
He did on a trash team that didn't even make the play-in tournament.
And that's why he's on the third team.
And he played like 55 games.
Thank you. 56 games, Joey. That man played. That's what he played. 56 games. You got to play at least 60.
That's kind of the beauty of this whole thing, is that it's built to start debate, right? Because everybody has their own criteria for what it means to be worth All-NBA first team, second team, third team. And whether it's a number of game cutoff where you have to play more than 60 games or a certain amount of points, or your team has to win X amount of games and be whatever seed in the playoffs. Like, it's the same thing with MVP, defensive player, most improved, all this stuff. And I think that is what the NBA wants. They want you to argue about who's the GOAT. They want you to have debates about which team is better and debate over accolades and whatever, because that's what makes the NBA awesome and interesting. And you can have a subjective opinion. Now, there are circumstances and situations where it's like, okay, you guys just this was completely wrong. This is a popularity contest. Like, this guy's not actually that good. But I think for the most part, it's kind of great that, there aren't guidelines for how this should work, because that's what starts the debates.
That it is. Anybody have an issue with Trae Young making that third team? I do. Hawks got off to a really bad start this year, and they were able to bounce back and at least make their way to that 8th spot. Mm-hmm. You see Trae's numbers this year? They're pretty darn good.
Yeah.
The Hawks with Trae Young are the best offensive team in the league, and when he sits, they're by far the worst. Again, it comes back to this idea of what's important to you when you make these decisions. Right. Is it record? Oh, they got the 10th seed, so he doesn't deserve to be All-NBA, or is it well, they didn't get the 10th seed, or they didn't get into the playoffs despite how good this guy was, because he just didn't have enough help. So it's the same thing with criticizing guys for having good teammates. Jokic did so much with Jamal Murray and MPJ out this year and had an incredible season worthy of an MVP for sure. But are you criticizing Joel Embiid for having help? It is what it is.
And quickly about the Jimmy Butler not making it, and Pascal Siakam. I thought that was crazy. I understand the argument, and the argument for me was more so about Jimmy's record and where Miami finished, and to not have anybody on the All-NBA team, and you're number one team.
And it's not like there were any other options on the Miami team.
Right.
Other guys stepped up throughout the season, but nobody was as good as Jimmy.
I completely get that. But if your argument's gonna be, if I'm looking at these numbers, for one, Jimmy, I don't think he played 60 games.
I was just checking. He played 57.
57 games. Plays 57 games. I think Siakam played 67 or 68 or something like that.
68.
Yeah, Siakam averaged more points, shot better from the field, shot better from three, rebounded better. I believe he had 5.3 assists, and Jimmy had 5.5 assists. It's not insane. You know what I'm saying? That they didn't just pick a dude just to be nice to him. You know what I mean? Siakam had a hell of a year from a team that a lot of us thought wasn't going to be like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they were a absolute problem going forward, man. Remember when we were trying to duck Raptors? We were like, dude, I don't know. I don't think we want to play these Raptors right now, man. Seriously. So, no, I don't think – it's not a slight. You know what I mean? Pascal Siakam was really, 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 really good.
The other thing that I want to point out here is just – the fact that we're trying to get Jimmy Butler, who's about to lead his team to potentially another finals, onto the All-NBA third team, is just how many great players, the just incredible depth of talent we have in the NBA today. I think it's by far as talented as it's ever been. And that's just amazing. I love seeing all these teams, and it just makes it so much more competitive too when people complain about, oh, it's going to be the Warriors and Cavs in the finals again this year. I'm not going to tune in. And now it's who knows who it's going to be, because all these teams are just so good and anybody can get hot. I think that makes the league just that much more interesting.
Speaking of that, Will, not only is there just so much amazing talent in the NBA right now, I saw this this morning and did not realize it until I read this tweet, which is super cool and crazy. This is from Justin Kubatko on Twitter, at @JKubatko. All 5 21-22 All-NBA first-team selections are 27 years old or younger. Luka 23, Tatum 24, Booker 25, Jokic and Giannis 27. It's the first time that's happened since the 54-55 season with Bob Cousy, Faust, Johnson, Pettit, and Shays.
Wow.
First time since 55 that all first-team members are 27 or younger.
Wow.
The NBA is in amazing hands.
Fact.
Anybody saying, oh, yeah, the NBA playoffs, but LeBron's not there, or KD got bounced in the first round.
Yeah.
Who the hell cares?
You know what else is great? Is
Go ahead, Will.
So basically the way this works is like first place votes are worth 5 points, second place votes are worth 3, third place are worth 1. So the top 6 total point getters, 4 of them are international talents. And I think it's another, I think I probably mentioned this before, but it's so great for the game now. It's becoming so much more global, and we're going to start to see even more international guys come into the league. And the ones that we have are so freaking good. It's just going to continue to get bigger and better. And talking about depth of talent, I mean, come on.
I love this from Eli in the comments. Next year's bold prediction, DeMar and Zach both will be first team members for the Bulls. Yes, Zach will sign with the Bulls.
I like it.
That'll serve as a great transition, because we are up next going to talk about how Zach did not make All-NBA and what that means for his contract, and also touch on the latest silly, stupid rumors that are about on Zach LaVine right now. But first, shout out to our friends at PointsBet. Which today's episode is brought to you by. The best way to support CHGO is to download that PointsBet app and use promo code CHGO. That's right. When you sign up, if you do that right now, you're getting those 2 risk-free bets worth up to $2,000. But that's not all. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you're going to get what, Dave? That's right, a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our amazing web content. Will's latest, he did Kobe White's season evaluation. That's up now on allchgo.com. You get a CHGO t-shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker, plus access to our members-only Discord channels, one for each team. That's 2,000 of free bets, membership, t-shirt, Discord access, all for making that $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. And right now, with these conference finals games, you could be enjoying PointsBet's live NBA same-game parlays, which you can also boost while you're watching live, while you're playing live, all available at PointsBet. Watch live, parlay live, boost live, and you can do it all from your phone. If you live in Illinois, online sign-up is available. Download the app, register your account, and start playing all from your phone. So once you start, you don't just bet. Go tell them what they do.
You live your bet life.
Boom shakalaka.
All the way from Brazil. Listen.
Can't use it in Brazil. You got to be in Illinois.
Oh.
Come on, Brazil.
Come on, Brazil.
Get your act together.
But I know one thing he can have in Brazil if he took it with him on this trip, and that is some of that delicious Strava coffee. Oh, because I know he wants to feel more alert. He wants to feel more focused, less anxiety, have a fewer aches and pains. He took a long trip, man. It was a long ride. He don't want to feel all that. No, he just wants to relax and chill out. And nothing does that better for you than that Strava craft coffee, because it's all about quality. Everything's in that small batch, fresh shipped straight to your door. Concentrated full spectrum CBD tinctures. For those looking for a more traditional CBD format with that powerful entourage effect of benefits. Who don't like benefits? Everybody like benefits. CHGO listeners, though, I tell you what I do got for you. That 25% off their entire order. Oh, the whole thing. Using that code CHGO25. That's 25% off your entire order at StravaCraft.com. StravaCraftCoffee.com. And when you use that code CHGO at checkout. And for you people that already love it, like this man right here, you subscribe and save with the Strava Coffee Club, y'all. With that, you are in control. You can save on your favorite coffees and have them automatically delivered to your home or office on your preferred schedule. Do you have a favorite, Matt? Do you have a favorite with Strava?
Yeah, I like the Colombian with like the medium potency of CBD.
Nice.
It's perfect for any time of day.
Get you some of this, y'all. It's doing wonders for this young man right here. It will do wonders for you also. Strava Craft Coffee.
Once it hits your lips, it's so good.
He couldn't wait to play that. Joey, tell me
Frank
what
the Tank.
tell me what the hell's going on in the chat right
It's
now.
hard for me to tell when you're going to end the ad reads for Strava, for Athletic Greens, because when you throw me points back, you hit me.
Right.
So I know right when to do it. But for this,
Athletic
I got to
Greens,
make
I
sure.
just dropped the tagline on it.
I know I've got something for the next time you drop the tagline. But what's going on in the chat? Somebody made a comment that I was filming a movie called The Producer. Somebody referred to me as The Producer, and then they said
Not to be confused with The Producers, which is already a show and a movie.
Yes,
it says making
Shout out,
my own bad guy film. So I said I would, hopefully be portrayed by Christian Bale. That might be a little bit
okay,
out of my league. But then we were trying
think an awful lot of yourself, don't you, Joey?
We were trying to. I actually said that I think Matt without the mustache looks a little Christian Bale. But then we were trying to cast the rest of the movie.
Okay.
So I was saying, like, I got Daniel Kaluuya for, I don't know how to say that, for Big Dave. I got Jesse Eisenberg for Gottlieb.
Oh, that's pretty good.
You like that one? I think that was pretty good.
Yeah, although Jesse Eisenberg has a little too much nerdiness.
Yeah.
Like, they share some similarities as like what they look like.
I think it's more of the profile.
Yeah.
Pekka had Aaron Paul. I got to keep thinking about it. I thought
because I yell bitch at everyone.
I'm about to say because of the
I
range.
don't.
Right.
Well, you don't
But
like that
mostly
one?
the rage.
Thought that was a good one.
Okay.
Mark K is maybe like Hugh Jackman, Chris Hemsworth. Somebody
because he's
Australian.
You can't give him Hemsworth.
Come on.
That's a lazy comparison.
That is, man. We can do better than that.
All right.
Come on,
Okay. I'm sorry. Keep them
who-
coming in
who's-
the comments.
Who said Pete Davidson for Mark K? I love that. Oh, Hayes said that. I also love that Hayes said, okay, Adam Driver for me. Thank you. Adam Driver's awesome. Craig Robinson plays Big Dave. Okay. So
I know where you're going. Go ahead.
a year ago, 2 years ago, after this man right here convinced me to start watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, well after it had started airing, I was hesitant because like sometimes Andy Samberg is a little too much, and I was like, oh, I don't know, Andy Samberg is the main character. That's a lot of Andy Samberg. Watched it, of course, I immediately loved it. And Dave was like, just wait till you get to the Craig Robinson episodes and see how he and Andy Samberg's character interact with each other on that show because it's you and me. And I watched and I was like, oh my God, you're right.
Dead on.
It's Peralta, Doug Judy right here.
That's it, man. It's scary. It was scary, dude.
Buddy
you got
cop
any mo-
of all time.
Yes, man.
If you've got any more ideas for the cast, just let us know in the comments.
Yeah, put them in the comments, man. That's
Lawrence
awesome
is going to be played by Aaron Rodgers, obviously. That's
It's already in the works.
Are we also excited to watch Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady? Tom Brady played like doubles golf this
I'm gonna say
weekend or
no.
whatever.
I'm not ready for any of that. No.
No, thank you.
Having worked on the match back in my BR days, I can promise you I will not be watching that.
Well, there's a great ringing endorsement. All right, so we're done with our ad reads. So we're done with our movie casting. Let's move on. Zach LaVine, first half of the season. Maybe people were thinking he might make third-team All-NBA.
Yeah.
Maybe even second-team All-NBA. He was pretty close as far as All-Star voting to getting a starting nod as opposed to a reserve nod.
Indeed.
He deals with the knee in the back half of the season. His numbers dip a little bit, and he is not featured on any of these All-NBA teams, which now makes it official. Joey, do you have that tweet from Bobby Marks that you can throw up there? That without making an All-NBA roster, these are the contracts, the biggest contracts that Zach LaVine can sign in his unrestricted free agent summer coming up. 5 years and $212.3 million is that 5-year max that he can sign with the Bulls. Mm-hmm. Any other team that is not the Bulls, the most he can sign is 4 years and $157.4 million. Mm-hmm. Had he made an All-NBA selection, those numbers would have been higher as far as the cap percentage would have gone from 30 to 35. So the Bulls offer could have been even bigger. Mm-hmm. Those are the contracts now that Zach can sign, which to me, it's not a big deal because I think we were all ready for Zach to miss out on all NBA selections the way his season ended. To me, it's just another step towards the ultimate destination, which is Zach signed with the Bulls.
Yeah.
Because they can offer him that number instead of this number.
Yeah, seeing those numbers really did it for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a math guy. Just not. It's not what I am. But when I see something simple like that, I'm like, wait, is that $55 million? Yeah, I know that kind of math right there, man.
55.
Like, I don't see him turning down that to go somewhere else. And, you know, even, again, I brought up Stacey King one more time. Just hearing his reaction to it, like, where you going to go? They're going to let you play like you want to play and do what you want to do and be who you want to be. And then I'm like, yeah, doing all that for less money. You know, like, oh, man, I don't see. I just don't. I don't see it, guys. I'm looking at it. I just don't see it. Will, you tell me your thoughts.
I like that. When Stacey said that, he kind of mentioned like, where are you going to go where they're not going to make you play defense? And I just kind of lost it at that one because he should be playing defense in Chicago. But I think the other way to look at it though is, had he been eligible for the Supermax, I think that's even more incentive to stay in Chicago, where the difference of what the Bulls can offer versus another team is that much more dramatic. I still think it's going to be fine, and we can talk about the rumors and yada yada, but this is kind of what we thought coming into the off season, and I agree with you, Matt, that that's what he's going to take.
Yeah, he's taking that money.
But that doesn't mean that people can't throw out all kinds of crazy rumors. Just rile things up, right?
Yeah, he was in L.A. talking about how much he loved the Lakers.
Oh, yeah. Thanks,
dinner.
TMZ. Thanks, paparazzi. God, paparazzi are like the human version of mosquitoes.
Yeah.
They bug and bug and bug. They do no good for anyone. What is the point?
You know what? I was so glad because you said something great, Will, when Matt and I were talking about this off air yesterday. And he said, oh, man, you could just tell Zach was just so bothered, about all of this. And then I thought I was like, you know where that won't happen? Where that won't happen, and you can get you an extra $55 million too. You know where you won't be under the microscope? Right here in this beautiful city of Chicago, sir.
No paparazzi in Chicago.
Not going to happen here. We wouldn't allow it. As soon as we see it, man, it's going to run them off.
It really is the best of both worlds for him, where it's a big market where he can still be the man, but not have like the extreme LA glamour bullshit draped over him the whole time. And it's also not like San Antonio or Orlando, who are the teams with cap space here. Like it's the perfect middle ground. It's a perfect place for him to be. I still think that a sign and trade could potentially happen. I'm not convinced that it will. I still think the extremely likely outcome is for him to be back, but the sign and trade is the one option where he can get that max $212.3 million and still play for another team should he decide to.
Right, which is a point of clarification in case anybody watching still hasn't had it clarified for them yet. I've seen plenty of Bulls accounts on Twitter over the last week or so saying, well, even if he doesn't want to stay with the Bulls, but he wants, they can sign and trade and he can still get that $5 million in a sign and trade, 5 years in a sign and trade. Incorrect. That is against the rules. If it's a sign and trade, the most it can be for is 4 years. So that option, not on the table, was never on the table, not now, not never.
Yeah. And
I got Joey.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. I got him early. With the math. I got him with the 55 mil. You got him with that. Yeah. We're coming at Joey today. But the other thing, Matt, this would also make sense, Will, to me, if there was bad blood here in Chicago. You know what I mean? Like if he
have you not heard he hates DeMar DeRozan now?
Right. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Excuse me. Apologize. But he's loved here. He's loved by his teammates, and most importantly, he's loved by his front office. They absolutely love Zach LaVine. And to go somewhere else where you be giving that away, plus giving away say-so on top of that, Will, like you're giving away, they're coming to him asking him, what do you need? Well, how can we help this team, be better? What players should we be looking at? Like that ain't happening when you go to LA. Like they're coming to Bron, period. Like you go over there, you do something. You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't talking to you right now. He is actually, they're treating him like he is the one. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And he's getting that respect. And to give that respect up along with money on top of that and comfort, all of that just doesn't make sense to me, Will.
The thing that I where my mind immediately went when I heard about the Jake Fisher article where he mentioned that Zach wasn't happy playing second fiddle in the fourth quarter was to just look at the fourth quarter scoring between him and DeMar. So I got the numbers for you because I do.
Come on.
In clutch moments, games in the fourth quarter that is within 5 points either way and within 5 minutes to go, DeMar was third in the league in clutch points at 4.1, and Zach was 16th at 3.0. So we're talking about 1 point.
Yeah.
Okay. In fourth quarter scoring altogether, DeMar was second in the league with 8.4, right, and Zach was 18th at 5.9. So we're talking about like a couple points. Okay. They're getting their shots up. Let's see how many actually their shots up. So Zach was getting 4 field goals in the fourth quarter and 2 in clutch minutes. DeMar was getting 2.3 in clutch minutes and 5.5. So we're talking about like 1 extra shot, half of a shot on average.
Close.
Like,
Yeah.
That's pretty darn close.
And then you're also thinking about like the difference in outcome. So last year when Zach was getting more shots, what were the Bulls doing? They were losing. They were losing all of those games. They weren't even in those clutch situations because they weren't good enough to get there. So give me a break.
Yeah. In case I loved all of that, and in case you missed that Jake Fisher Bleacher Report, big old fat air quotes there, that Will mentioned just now, here it is. I'll run through it quickly. Sure. One specific note has been frequently repeated by league figures with knowledge of the situation. The fourth quarter brilliance that put DeRozan in the MVP conversation often left LaVine watching from the corner as DeRozan isolated in the mid-post. While Chicago was supposed to be LaVine's team, featuring new running mates for the Bulls' all-star centerpiece, LaVine was routinely rendered to a supplementary role alongside DeRozan. This is not to suggest a rift between LaVine and DeRozan, but you know what you're doing. But it provides necessary context as to why LaVine is suddenly viewed as a gettable free agent from rival front offices as opposed to a straightforward extension case. You know what that is the equivalent of? That's the equivalent of me reading the nutrition facts on a bag of kale. Because I ain't ever eaten it. So why write it? Nonsense. This is nonsense. I hate that I just read it, but it's out there. Bleacher Report, people, a lot of sports fans, a lot of Bulls fans probably read Bleacher Report stuff, something like this, and take it seriously. Jake Fisher throws a lot of stuff around there, especially in the offseason when it's rumor season in the NBA. Right. That's 3 paragraphs of, well, this is probably nothing, but here's all the reasons that it might be, could be, maybe something. It's freaking,
and we have to deal with another month of this. You know what I mean? Like, and it's going to be more and more of this. Again, because Zach LaVine is the number 1 free agent. He's number 1. You know, everybody's sought after guy is Zach LaVine. So you have to create something. Like, man, we got to talk about something. Well, maybe it could happen, but probably not. But here it could be.
I love that he even undercuts himself. This is not to suggest a rift between LaVine and DeRozan.
Right.
But here, let me suggest that there might be a rift between LaVine and DeRozan. Like, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Stop that.
Cut it out.
I need to smack your nose with a newspaper like a dog. Bad dog. Come on.
I do, I'm happy that we don't talk about that every single show because – like even Stacey said yesterday, we're not TMZ. Like that was a nice endorsement for us. And
thank you.
And
Stacey.
Chicago Bulls Central, your boy Hayes is saying it right here too. Like, let's just cover the count. We don't need to spin all these rumors for the night. We're gonna know in a month, guys. Like, let's just talk about Bulls and what we actually know rather than speculate for the next. We don't know Jack.
You don't know Jack. It's one of my favorite games.
Great computer game. It's like it's okay if you want to mentally prepare yourself for the 5% chance that Zach does end up leaving. That's fine. But to and it's like the same thing that people tried to do with Jimmy and Derrick Rose in 2015. Like, oh, they don't like each other. Whose team is it now? And then it was like Jimmy versus Rondo. It was like, why are we doing this? These guys like each other. They want to play together. Like, if you want to have a reasonable conversation about like why Zach might want to go somewhere else, fine. But we have no substantiated evidence that would actually suggest that he would want to leave. And just to make stuff up is super lame.
Yeah. And I mean, it's clearly the goal and the primary goal for a lot of sports media outlets right now. And we understand why they do it because a lot of the money behind sports media now is about sponsorship and the clicks and social media engagement that is attached to those sponsorships. They want to see numbers. They want to see engagement. So giant eye-popping headlines that say Zach LaVine and some random, inflammatory verb and then name of NBA team that's not the Bulls is going to get all kinds of clicks on Twitter and on YouTube, and that's why people are doing it. We're not going to do that.
No.
Because why? All that's doing is riling people up and lying to Bulls fans who are looking for the truth.
And here's the fact we didn't even mention because we were doing the show with Stacey yesterday. We haven't even mentioned it yet. Zach LaVine had successful knee surgery. He's good. Yeah, that's a good thing, guys. That's another step in the process. Yes, it was a successful surgery. Yes. Those are the facts we discuss here. You know what I'm saying? That's what we'll go more in depth on, is that kind of awesomeness right there. That was part of the process.
Breaking! Zach LaVine has successful knee surgery and therefore will sign with the Lakers. Whoa!
Where he had the surgery in LA. That's
surgery
clearly
in Los
a sign.
Angeles.
It's clearly a sign.
Oh my God. The guy in the TMZ video, whoever it was, like holding the camera was like, "Oh, Zach, like, what are you doing here in LA?" And he was like, "Dude, I live here." Is that a good enough answer for you? Can you walk the fuck away now?
It's the same thing with LeVar, like the conversation about, Zach wanting to go to the Lakers. Well, look what he said about Lonzo. It was good news. He said Lonzo will be ready, but like he didn't actually say anything about Lonzo's knee or what's going to happen. He just said he'll be ready. Like we don't even know if that's true. So why are we now putting weight into what he said about Zach? And then the TMZ guy asked Zach like about the LeVar thing. He's like, haha, me and Lonzo are boys. Like they didn't clip that quote. So whatever. I'm done with this.
I thought I skipped the LeVar Ball episode. What happened there? All right, we want to, before we get out of here, wrap up our player grades with two more precious individuals, Tristan and Manny.
I thought I missed this episode.
Before we do that, Big Dave, one more quick shout out to our people at PointsBet.
Oh, it's the reason I came to CHGO was just for this episode right here, just so I could do this. And also I want to do this. If you enjoy CHGO, one way to continue to help us to grow, that rhyme, is to download the PointsBet app right now. And use that code CHGO when you sign up, because not only are you getting those two risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you will receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of that awesome web content, and there's more. You'll even get a free t-shirt of your choice from that CHGO locker. All right, and all the people in this beautiful state of Illinois and this wonderful, wonderful city of Chicago, where it is Fat Man Summer weather outside, baby. I love it so much. You can actually download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. You'll be signing up with the fastest sportsbook, easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. So what are you waiting for? I don't know, because once the game starts, you don't just bet. Will in Brazil, tell them what you do.
You live your bet life.
Joey.
If you're good at something, never do it for free.
Better preach that.
Facts.
Better talk that.
All right. Moving on. We've got our grades, our final grades of our player evaluations for the 21-22 season. Are we ready, gentlemen?
Yeah.
I think mostly this is just going to be meathead grades.
What'd you say, Will? Say it again.
Can we get the applause, Joey? Come on. We're
Joey, applause, Joey. It's the last evaluation.
I got something better here.
Will is very happy about the facts. Oh, usually there's some kind of giant fanfare at the end of the drum roll.
Waiting for that.
Bing.
Ding. Come on, Joey.
Next time I give Will what he wants.
We'll try again after. That's okay.
We'll try again. Team efforts here.
Will's very excited to be done with player grades.
He is very excited. He can't wait.
And
because,
I'm having
a
hard time pretending I'm not.
It means when we're done with player grades, we move on to draft stuff, baby.
Yes.
All right. So, Tristan first. We got to save the best for last.
Yes, Tristan
We'll do
first.
Tristan first. Mm-hmm. Here you see our grades for Tristan Thompson. For those listening on the pod, F+FF on offense, FFF on defense, FFF overall. And then let us get to, okay, so I guess I have to quickly justify why I was the lone F+ on offense.
I don't think you do, but go ahead.
Grabbed a lot of offensive boards.
Okay.
He then proceeded to get fouled under the basket and shoot 54% from the free throw line. But because he grabbed some offensive boards, I gave him an F+.
Yeah.
Every other grade was an F. And then we got our meathead grades.
Yeah. Let's do the meathead grade. Because, Fs. Everybody knows why he got Fs. It's so disappointing. I was an advocate for him, and he didn't do anything.
Right.
I'm going to get it. Forget it, though. Let's get to the meathead.
Okay. Do you care to take a guess on what mine is?
Is it Kardashian something?
Kardashian curse is real.
There's the goat. That is correct. The Kardashian curse is real.
There it is.
KCIR.
It's real, man.
Stay away.
It's so real
from the Bulls.
My God, it's so real. Like, my goodness, it's sad. Like, you just think of all the players, and you're like, yeah. No championships on any of these teams. Oh my goodness, man. Like, that's terrible.
What do you got here with GITV? Oh, I know what Dave's is.
You know what it is.
Will, do you know what Dave's is? GITV?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I know Joey doesn't know it for sure, but Joey, this is important because we're going to be doing this when we get into free agency and all that. You don't know this yet. But on Twitter, there's something I do. I've been doing for years that people love, and it's called Get in the Van, all right? And what that means is, Joey, when players leave here, whether they're traded, whether it's free agency, whatever, when they leave here, they either get a plane, they either get a bus, or they get a van. So just for example, Derrick Rose, just depending on how well they play. Derrick
Rose gets the plane. Rose gets a plane, right?
Rose gets a plane,
okay.
Right. Luol Deng, for me, he got a bus. He got a luxury bus.
Oh, so it's a nice bus.
It's a bus.
It's a nice bus.
Right. But when you're trash, when you're an atrocity, when you're somebody that I never want to see again in my life, you get in the van. And Tristan Thompson is a fleet of vans waiting outside for you, sir. There are no windows on any of them. There might be some nails on the floor because there ain't no seats. Get in the damn van, sir, and get this man the hell out of Chicago, please. Thank you.
So he who must not be named was thrown in the back of a garbage truck.
Oh, my God. Listen, man, chloroformed and tossed in the back.
I was actually driving to work yesterday, and I drove on the highway next to, like, a trailer that had a bunch of, like, livestock in it. Like horses and you know, maybe that's a step below the van. You just get in like a trailer with a bunch of hay.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Like a belly ride, maybe also dangerous, might get kicked in the head by a horse.
A little bit. It could be a thing.
I love that. All right, Will, what do we got for yours? SYA. What is that? Oh, bring Will back. Where is Will?
There he is.
SYA. What does SYA mean?
Well, I first want to get into this a little bit because I think not only was Tristan a complete zero on offense, a negative defender, and somebody that Billy was sort of forced to put in to games more than you might think he should because the Bulls used their part of their biannual exception on him. So overall, and then the like leadership stuff and yelling at people and the playoff challenges, like just none of it went right. So for me, see ya.
Out of here, man. That what that is. See ya. I like that. All right.
Just real simple. That's why I was thinking maybe it means it's short for something, but maybe it's just see ya. Yeah, but okay. Do you spell see ya CYA or SYA? I
spell it like if I'm spelling it like that, I'm putting a C.
Right.
But he's the GOAT.
Maybe
he can do it how he wants.
I was just doing like
space
SEEYA. That's what I was going for. But you're right. Could have gone either way.
No, yeah, you're the writer. Okay, so it makes sense why you would go that way, sir.
The one positive I'll give Tristan, his first game, I believe, was March 4th against the Bucks. That was the first game we watched together. He helped usher in, the era of CHGO Bulls. Big Dave was very excited about his addition to the team.
I was very excited because he came in, saying all the things I needed him to say. He was the guy I wanted back in November. I was like, yeah, give me this dude. Like, he could do something on this team. He'd just be a goon for us. He wasn't even a good goon. He couldn't even goon for me. Like, that's all I wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, just talk. Oh, no, you can't be coming up on our players like that. We can't do that stuff like that. We're going to have to retaliate. And then Grayson Allen jumping into your chest and you doing nothing. Nah, bro, you get out. Like, go, get your stuff, man. Like, get the van. Get the van. Get him out of here.
Can't even goon for me. Sounds like a disappointed partner in a relationship. You're not giving me nothing. You're not even gooning for me.
Not even gooning for me. Can't even goon for me, bro.
So Tristan gets a van.
Beautiful hashtag.
Shout out to Old Buckness in the comments who said, and live in that van down by the river.
Down by the river.
You're always getting on my good side if you're throwing Farley quotes out there. Love it. All right, so that is and was the brief Tristan Thompson experience
Peace.
with the Chicago Bulls. Goodbye, sir.
Yeah.
Now let's go to Matty Legend.
Yes, sir.
All right, these grades look a little more complicated than just F's across the board. I went with an F plus for him as well.
How dare you?
Can't really remember why I gave him the plus.
Yeah,
I guess he knocked down a couple of threes.
Makes no sense.
Cheered on his teammates when they made baskets.
Uh-huh.
There's an F plus for you, I guess. Look at the GOAT. Gave him a D.
That's acceptable.
That's a passing grade,
yes,
technically.
and he deserves that. He deserves that D. So
I am flabbergasted.
he hit threes. Like, you can't give him an F. Like
He's legitimately a very good shooter. That's the only reason that I give him that. He wasn't really able to do that, and he made mostly not good decisions that led him to not be able to contribute, in addition to injuries. But there's a shooter in there, and I rewarded that with a D, which is not really saying all that much.
38.5% from downtown.
Oh, that's not an F. That's all I'm telling you.
Shot 41% from the field.
That's not what we asking. We're talking about threes, sir. He says he's a three-point shooter. That's what he does.
All right,
Dave,
Dave,
I got to know what L is.
Yeah,
what
what's
are
L?
we doing here?
Just a big fat L, like a W versus an L?
No, the L is for legend.
Oh, okay.
It's Matty Legend.
Okay.
Matty
I
Legend
should've
gets
known.
the L for legend. Because who was it that told us in practice he is a legendary practice player? That is that man, Will Gottlieb, said that, sir. He is the man. That's legendary stuff. That is how they're grown.
True.
Who sits on those sidelines, jumping that rope,
Right.
high-fiving everybody in such a legendary way. When the Bulls went on their longest winning streak of the year, guess who was getting ticked? The legend. That's who. Damn it.
I don't recall that happening.
Oh, I do.
I do not recall that happening.
9 in a row, legendary status.
Call me Marjorie Taylor because I do not
that's
recall.
Another reason. That's another reason why I didn't go F plus or D minus here, because in the 5-on-5 pregame, warm up games, you give the ball to Matt Thomas and you get the hell out of his way because he is getting buckets.
Okay.
So that counts for something.
It counts. Counts, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Moving to divas. Where is Will? Where is the circle?
Where is
We
the
don't have
defense?
this.
That's
We
what I
don't have
wanna
the
know.
circle on when we have the grades usually.
Oh, okay. I see.
right. He's right.
You guys aren't on the screen right now.
No, I know.
but
I just
we just want Will
like
all
Dave
the
said
time.
earlier. I like
Yeah,
when
we
he's
like-
always
bring
nice
him back.
and safe in that little circle.
Bring him back. Here you go.
There he is. Yeah.
Okay. So Will and I both gave Maddie F's for defense, which is fairly obvious. Dave, you added some extra letters in front of giving him an F on defense. IPTF. The hell does that stand for?
It stands
I pity
for
the fool?
I plead the fifth.
Oh, okay.
I plead the fifth on this one.
I should have done that for
I
all
don't know. I was too busy focused on the offensive skills and the legendary status of that to focus on what he was doing defensively. I was too busy watching them win their 9-game winning streaks while he was getting all the tick. And I watched his effort. Did you see the effort that man was putting in on defense? He was the shorts were always just right pressed, creased were correctly placed. Already right, tucked in and laced up. He was in the perfect defensive position every time. I plead the fifth on that.
Like an untouched Rodgers jersey at Soldier Field on a Sunday. All right, so go. What does NTSH mean in your meathead grade for Matty Legend?
Nothing to see here. I just I don't know. I don't know, man. Like I feel bad even giving him grades because it's like, dude, he's just don't want to beat a dead horse, but there's just nothing to see here.
Such a good delivery.
That is. It was. It was very good.
Dave, do you have a guess for what my HNRN meathead grade is?
I don't.
He's no Ryan Nall.
Oh.
Big Dave's other favorite Chicago athlete who is known for occasionally getting some tick and not doing a whole lot. But you know who actually has made more plays for his Chicago team than Matty Legend did this season is Ryan Nall. Matty Legend, you are no Ryan Nall, sir. Bears legend.
Yeah, I just want to point out that when Matt Thomas was getting the tick, the Bulls winning, Bulls in the playoffs, Ryan Nall, no tick, no playoffs. Just pointing that out to you, man. That's the thing. It happened. He's a legend.
Will,
I will regale you with tales of Ryan Nall's greatness one day because Matt is sick of hearing about it from me because I talk about it all the damn time.
No longer on the squad.
He is not, but I'll show you the cameo video that we got for him because there is a cameo video.
I will say there's something great about hearing about fans like irrational love for just totally random players. So I love that. I definitely want to hear about some Ryan Nall.
Oh, that's me all day long. As far as my head grade, I mean, it should be simple for me. Legends don't get grades. They don't.
Oh.
You don't grade a legend, man. You don't grade a legend. You that's what they are. They are accepted for their greatness. You don't give grades to legends. You just say, you know what? You're a legend. You're beyond this. This is who you are, and that is who Matt Thomas is, sir. Matty Legend. I was gonna go with greatest number 21 of all time, but I didn't want to make anybody so angry. I was you know what? No, let me get off of that.
Mark would get on a plane from Australia right now.
Oh, you should have saw me when I put it on Twitter. That was one of the best days of my life. People lost their minds.
Jimmy Stans came out with their torches and pitchforks.
You think Beyonce's got a beehive? Oh my God, Jimmy Butler, man! How dare you? It was great.
All right, and so our overall grades for Matty Legend to wrap us up. DHIMH for me. Dave's happiness is my happiness. That is my grade for Matty Legend. Matty Legend's presence on this team for some reason made Dave happy.
It did.
When Dave's happy, I'm happy.
It did. Thank you, sir.
Big Dave, is your overall grade? You already know.
You already know. Come on with it. You already know. You know what it is, Joey. It's the legend. We already know what it is, y'all. It's the legend. It's who he is. Embrace it. Go.
We should have ended with Matt's because that is the note that we should have ended these evaluations on. Mine is a lot more sad and apathetic. It is just incomplete. I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
Actually, when you line them up, Goat's grades are amazing.
They are.
DF, nothing to see here, incomplete.
Get out of here. Hey, you got the
Look at that. Look at this incredible work from Joey.
Keep that van, Joey.
We're ready, and look who's driving.
I see it.
Yeah.
I see it, sir.
Big Dave said, I'll get you on the first van out. I'll drive you.
I don't know. That one looked a little too nice, man. Too many windows.
That is shiny. that just went through the car wash.
That's just right. He got
way
it clean.
too clean.
Because he was a classy. Joey's a classy individual. Not me. Not with that one, sir. You lucky that Joey. The only thing that works on there properly is the engine and the tires.
Right.
To make sure you get the hell out of here. Anything else on there? The lights, seats. You ain't got to worry about none of that, man.
Yeah, we'll see how the van, if it's still looking as clean.
But I love this.
When we get there to pick up Kobe.
Oh, but I love where your head is at.
It's great.
Oh, God.
It's great.
I love where your head is at.
I also love that we're driving the Bulls fan van away from someone who should not be behind the wheel ever.
Yeah, but he's in a bus.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, his is the bus.
Oh, right. Big red bus.
Yeah, he's got the bus.
Speaking of, makes me think of Junior Mark, a.k.a. C-Red Ted, celebrating a birthday.
Hey.
And I saw he got a C-Red truck. Not a truck, a train. Mark posted a Twitter picture of it. I just saw it earlier while we were on the show. His son got an adorable, awesome red train.
Wow.
And I trust his son to drive it more than any Bulls fan vehicle that our pal Fred's ever driving.
Shout out C-Red Ted. And also shout out my nephew CJ. It's also his birthday today.
Shout out
as
CJ.
Well, man.
Little Bulls fan, I assume.
Oh, no. Nothing little about him. That man's like 22 years old, bro. Nothing little about that young fella, dog.
But a Bulls fan.
But not a Bulls fan. He is not. He's a Lakers fan because his father is a Lakers fan.
All right, well, your nephew's not cool then. He's not a Bulls fan. Where were you when you were supposed to be giving your nephew a bunch of Bulls stuff?
He doesn't live here. I can't save everybody. Okay. All right? Trust me. I got one of my nephews.
Have fun not having Zach LaVine on your team next year.
That's the note to end on. We got to get out of here. We ran a little long because we had some stuff to discuss at the top of the show, which, circling back to that, we love you, Bulls Nation.
Yes.
Yesterday was hard. Today is hard. But you know what always helps? Laughing, being around people who you love, and trying to find some good positive moments throughout the day. Hug some people. Smile at some strangers.
Word.
Try and put some positivity out in the world today because we sure as hell could all use it. Thanks as always for tuning in. Subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel if you aren't already. We got more content for you guys on deck today. We got some baseball action coming. Follow us on Twitter, Bulls_Peck, Bow, BAWL Sports, Won't Gottlieb. We are CHGO_Bulls. Thanks, as always, to our pal and our producer, Joey, for hanging out with us, doing a great job. And we will talk to you tomorrow, same time, same place, 3 p.m. Chicago time, another live show. Love you, Bulls Nation. See you, Red. Be good.